Hello, everyone, and welcome to OpenExO Live. It's great to be with you this evening for me, or morning or afternoon, wherever you are watching this from. And today we have Chander Nagpal with us, calling in from Switzerland. And you can see there on the screen that we have some amazing people coming up all the way into January 2022. Before we get Chander up on screen with us, I do have a few words that have been shared from some folks in the community, and we'll start with this one that comes from Suman, and he just said, I had the opportunity to work with Chander on a piece of work. What struck me the most was his eye for detail. The touch of perfection in a professional world is very relevant, and Chander's touch was quite magical, I must say. In addition, he loves to question and challenge. And that's the other thing I admire of him very much. Glad he is on OpenExO Live today. Enjoy the chat. We next have from Daya. I had the privilege to work with Chander on several occasions. He is coming from a diverse business background and is very meticulous, both when thinking about a problem and when building solutions to those problems. He has the superpower to ask really powerful questions. It's big. Asking the right questions is the foundation to create the right solutions for the world. Enjoy the conversation, Chander. Next from Jay. Chander is extremely structured in his approach, brings deep strategy experience, and can surprise you pleasantly with his ability to form creative, multi-dimensional solutions. His ability to identify the strengths and interests of other people and then consult in a very personalized manner is a skill that I admire. It was extremely rewarding to work with him on both our coach and trainer certification. It would be an absolute joy to collaborate with him again in the future. Then from Mace, I met Chander during the coach certification and found him very thorough and experienced professional. He has extensive years of business consultancy experience and used it to help others and steer the team. Despite that, he still maintains a continuous growth mindset and is positively receptive to new learnings. Both qualities together made him a valuable asset to the team. Next from Fabian. In early 2021, I had the pleasure to work with Chander as part of the Sprint certification program. During this intense project, I got to know Chander as an inspirational and very experienced coach and leader with strong presentation skills and an exponential and open mindset. His strong network in the EXO community helped the team a lot to achieve the objective of the project. I'm looking forward to work together with him on other exponential initiatives in the future. And the last one just comes from Paul. Soon after getting certified, Chander reached out and we started a trajectory focused on learning and developing programs related to exponential technologies and impact. I learned that Chander is a doer. He wants to get things done, making it successful, and always finds ways to solve problems when they occur. But he also knows when to stop experiments if results are suboptimal. Good to have him in the community. So those were some of the comments that came from folks around the world. Chander, welcome to OpenExO Live. Really good to have you. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very well, Kevin. It's a pleasure to be with you. And thanks for inviting me and hosting me today. Wonderful experience. And thanks for sharing those snippets. I'm going to reach out to these guys and thanking them for the interesting, inspiring feedback they had to share.
No, it's always a pleasure to get folks from the community to share about others in the community, because that's one thing that I think is a little bit different about what we do and how we do it is the global nature of our community. Now, we always start OpenExO Live by asking the guest to give us a bit of background about yourself and to let us know how you came to join the OpenExO community.
Sure. So before I do that in my introduction, I would like to take this opportunity, Kevin. The day coincides with the Indian festival called Diwali. It's a festival of
Mm.
lights, and I volunteered. Actually, I had not recognized because I'm based over here in Zurich, Switzerland, for the last several years, and normally it's not there in the calendar, so I had not realized. So very happy Diwali to everyone, those who are familiar. So it's basically a festival of lights, and some might be familiar with. And the way I see it, it's a celebration of light over darkness, or good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. And I added this a few years back when I got involved in the EXO communities. It's a bin of abundance over scarcity. So it's an interesting coincidence that I'm talking with you in this live conversation on the day when we are talking about having the abundance over scarcity binning. So about myself, originally from New Delhi, India, been here in Zurich, Switzerland for the last 11 odd years, Kevin, and those who are here in the conversation. So total of 24 plus years of experience as a consultant as well as line leadership roles. I kind of started my professional journey 24 odd years back after doing my master in business, became a backpacker, if I could call it that way. I became an external consultant, was working with different clients across different locations, both within India and across. And those who are not familiar with India, perhaps it's as big as Europe in some shape and form, multiple states,
Yeah.
multiple languages. So I had a wonderful experience. And more so, besides the consulting part of it, I think the privilege I had was the consulting organization was part of a large Indian conglomerate, which was very values driven organization and had pioneered actually the movement of quality and transformation leadership back in India in the 70s and the 80s. So it was a wonderful learning experience. I did both strategy as well as operations consulting. And then I got married to a Spanish lady who is still my wife for the last 20 plus years now. And then we had to kind of interesting conversation was, do I want to stay as a backpacker and be a weekend husband, or do I want to be husband? And I think the choice was pretty obvious one. So I quit consulting after marriage, and then I joined a firm of financial information called Reuters. I led their global process excellence and service and quality program for a few years, and then led their post-merger integration journey. So India, where I was based out of for Thomson Reuters, we had close to 6,000 employees in the single location. So pretty huge, almost 10% of the footprint. So I led the post-merger integration effort. And then probably beginning of 2011, we decided to move here to Switzerland. And then I started my external consulting firm to decide to take the plunge into venture into on consulting. And then in between, I was also working with the Global Bank of UBS, again, external consulting capacity. About the EXO, I would say you call it destiny or serendipity, if I could put it that way. It was a chance occurrence. Actually, I got to know, unlike a lot of others who have got to network and work with in the past of OpenExO community, that they went to SU and they got familiar with Salim and they have been associated in that context. I actually ended up getting to know about the Exponential Transformation book launch. This was in September 2018, if my memory serves me right. So this was a book launch event I got to know, and I joined it out of curiosity. I had not known about the exponential community or the framework in the past, and I was call it, it was love at first sight. Literally love what Salim and Peter and others had to talk about it, and the sheer passion and purpose with which they talked about the whole exponential framework and the transformation, the ingredients in the recipe. And then I would say that continued, and obviously I admired the robustness of the methodology, both from the recipe perspective, the EXO attributes, and also the methodology in the form of sprint.
Mm.
And then I think another key element was the fact that Salim and probably others, I'm not too sure actually, Kevin, whether you were there already on board or not. Pardon my asking or saying that, but I think the very fact that we were already talking about building up a community at that point of time, 3 years back,
Yeah.
was very powerful for me because I've worked in networked organization, but for being a part of community and a purpose-driven community was an interesting insight for me. So I joined the community that time in September 2018 after the book launch, and here I am, Ham, having this conversation with you. I would say it was love at first sight, and love is still in the air, probably. So I have admired being a part of the community, and yeah, it's been a wonderful experience last 3 years.
Absolutely. So I was not part of the core team at that time, but I was a community member. I joined in early 2018 or late 2017, actually, I think, when it was just a handful of people. But it's always so great to hear the different stories. There's usually two strains. Either it's someone from the community introduced me, or some sort of serendipity. I just happen to be somewhere, and I'm also not an SU alumni at all, which I think there's more and more that aren't from SU. Now, of course, um, the one part of the EXO model that we always speak about as being something that's a non-negotiable, right, is the MTP. And so one thing I like to ask those who are on OpenExO Live is about your MTP. Either your personal MTP or the MTP for your organization, so that people know what it is that's driving you.
Sure. So goes back to your question in terms of my EXO journey, I would say. So MTP was one of the, I would say, factors which attracted and inspired me quite a lot in the conversation I started having. So earlier, it's not that it was totally new for me, but I used to use what I say is epitaph analogy. That if when I die, what is going to be written on my epitaph?
Yeah.
But I think since I got exposed to MTP, yes, I've worked on different iterations. Probably took help of few colleagues in the ecosystem that point of time, Yaroslav and Lars and others. And I think the current one which I'm having is not perfect for sure, and it's not the final version, more so. But what I'm saying, my MTP, Kevin, is inspiring and enabling humanity to unlock and realize its full potential. So that's what is driving me, and I'm pretty passionate about. And it's kind of broader, so that I don't just look at the business world, which is my day life, but I also look at my other stakeholders, my wife, my kids, my parents, and everybody else who I'm associated with on time-to-time basis, on a personal basis. What is that I can do to inspire and enable them to make a difference?
Absolutely. And Chanda, that's actually very, very much related to my personal MTP, which is unlocking positive human potential. I truly believe that we have so many people on this planet who have so much potential that uh, every problem could be solved if folks were living up to that. And so always good to hear that. Now, obviously, I mean, you've been in the community for some time, um, uh, you know, active, up and down, I guess. But how can you tell us about some of the initiatives you've been involved in that actually came out of the community? So initiatives from the community that you've been involved in.
Sure. Probably serendipity as a gain or destiny, but I think not in a positive way. But while I joined the community in September 18, as I mentioned earlier, as part of the book launch event, uh, I was wanting to jump into the waters and start embracing it and taking it forward. And being a consultant and a coach, the whole idea was again enabling business leaders to think exponential and stuff. But pretty much hit the roller coaster. So originally from India, my parents both they were not keeping well, so I had to literally take a break from work and career. Mostly of 2019, but I think I resurfaced towards the end of 2019 and started getting involved in the community again. So came back and kicked off a few awareness sessions over here in Zurich, Switzerland itself. And then, as you are aware, COVID started becoming a new normal for all of us, and then also had an accident, a pretty severe one, in the early summer of 2020. So I would say out of 3 years, I've been inactive for quite a lot of time, but for that period of time, I've been available. I've enjoyed and I've kind of tried to contribute passionately towards different initiatives within the community. So I've been involved in some of the speaking engagements. I've been organizing and facilitating few on my own, Kevin, plus also few which
Mm,
have been led by you and Salim. So I was part of a couple of EXO World live events. And then when we announced the initiative of the EXO version 2, I volunteered myself and then I contributed towards three of the chapters. So one is on the Fortune 100, where are they right now? Then attributes to independency and building an EXO. And I think that was a wonderful experience and an opportunity
mm,
again. Had a great experience of collaborating with some individuals. Probably I thought of sharing and naming is like likes of Pepe Jose in Latin America, and then Trevor Harding, and then Alina here in Switzerland, and then quite a few others. So that was a wonderful experience. And then also, I think we also had a EXO Prize initiative earlier in this year, was kicked off in February. So I joined and volunteered for that. I was a part of two wonderful groups, and we actually got the second rank in that initiative for our team. It was called Co-Alleviate. And then again, collaboration along with the folks like Lorenzo and Misa and Michael and Frank was a wonderful experience. So I would say it has been critical, besides obviously going to the market and engaging with external
Mm.
business leaders from organization. I think contributing back and giving back to the community as much as learning also from others has been something which I've been passionate about. And then obviously I'm kind of continuing on that path. So I've been kind of organizing a few events this year as well, post my recovery from the accident. So I had one along with Mark Hatch. Not too sure if he's there on the call, and
Mm.
others also. If so, yes, I had did a session on MTP along with him earlier this year in the summer. Then along with Dia, I did a session on autonomy and experimentation, and then I'm doing another one in the month of December. So I think my philosophy is, yes, I would like to one evangelize the EXO philosophy to business world and have them embrace and come forward and embrace the whole exponential thinking and doing. And then yeah, a few other initiatives in the pipeline as well.
Yeah, now I know you mentioned some, kicking off an engagement with UBS, um, the wealth management. I mean, I don't know how much I don't know, it must be trillions under management at UBS. And you spoke about an initiative that you're kicking off there. Um, uh, can you share anything? Obviously, what is possible to share.
Sure. So the outcomes and the outputs will be certainly confidential, but the process we are going through. So and I'm proud because I think I believe in knowledge sharing within the community so that we can foster and learn and embrace each other. So UBS, if those who are not familiar, is the world's global leader in the space of wealth management. They basically advise the high net worth and rich individuals, not folks like you and me, but maybe few others on the call or business people. So we are actually supporting them not in the sprint form, but actually as a part of a learning and development engagement. And we are focusing on their client advisors, the mid tier and the high potential and the top talent. It's kind of a bespoke engagement. So we have already kicked off in the month of October, the first week of workshops, and then we are running 5 weeks of mini sprints. So we have four coaches who are working with different cohorts and internal teams with them, and then we are going to be having the conclusive disrupt session in the month of December in the form of again different workshop. And it's more of a learning and development intervention. It's not a full-fledged sprint, but yes, we are following the same principles, and we are not doing it alone actually because it's structured by UBS Internal Learning Academy. So we are one of the external partners with them, along with a couple of other consulting firms. And I would say, having done the first week of workshops with the external partners, the highlight worth mentioning is actually they had a formal feedback mechanism where they are asking feedback from the participants, and EXO was rated the number one compared to some of the other peer groups of McKinsey and Capgemini. So that was very exciting for us to learn that we made a difference, and we already started seeing the impact in the last 2 weeks when the sprints have been kicked off. So it's a beginning point. I think UBS is a large name. It's a good brand to have under our belt now, and I'm hoping that yes, we are able to exploit the potential and make them go on a true exponential journey. So it's exciting, and I'm sure would be wonderful for us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely exciting because at the end of the day, as we say at OpenExO, our MTP being transform the world for a better future. We it's about transforming organizations, the people at those organizations, the and so every little bit is most definitely counting towards that. Now, you you mentioned briefly about the Fortune 100, and now we are going to be launching and announcing the results, and you did quite a lot of work there, looking at the Fortune 100 EXQ scores and what's happened since we ran that first analysis back in 2016. Um, and without sharing the details, because we are going to share that publicly. Our thinking is, once COP 26 is done, and people are listening, what is it that you'd like to just share just about that experience, and how it sort of made you think around the importance of EXO, for organizations, right? Actually embracing exponential, and the benefits.
Sure. So as you rightly mentioned, Kevin, probably, unfortunately or fortunately, still under the wraps. And I think you and Salim and others would be taking the decision on when to take it out, probably after COP26. So as you said, but I think this Fortune 100 analysis was an outcome of my involvement in the EXO version 2 book writing, along with the
Mm.
other colleagues, as I mentioned. So I think probably my financial background and consulting background, I had this hunch that it would be worthwhile to find out, one, obviously, what these firms have been doing qualitatively and what have been their journey in the last several years since we published the book, and also highlighted in 2014 what were the exponential scores of the Fortune 100 firms. So I started kind of doing some number crunching of the financial performance, because we did not have, say, CSATs or employee metrics is available. So it's interesting insights, which I would say we have unearthed. The core message, I would say, is yes, it's worth to be exponential. Because what we are saying is firms who are rated high, the top 10 exponential firms, have significantly outperformed their peer group, the bottom 10 especially. And those significant outperformance, probably I'm sure we will see the numbers in the next few
Yeah.
days and weeks as we release it. But the core message is yes, can thumb the table and say being exponential is not just good to become purpose driven, but actually it helps you create value from a financial perspective, and obviously from an employee and customer perspective as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think that the insights into the fact that it's never too late to start, and also that you can't rest on your laurels. You you can stop using exponential attributes as well, and I think those are really great insights, because so many organizations say, well, we're too small to do it, or
Mm.
we're never going to be disrupted, or a lot of excuses sometimes, which can be really detrimental, to the future of those organizations, because
Very.
innovation continues, right? No matter what you're doing internally, the the world continues to innovate.
No, no, true, true. And I would say we will be sharing more details, but given that you touched upon it, I think G is a classical example. I keep on talking
Hmm.
about in the last several weeks and months, especially having unearthed what the misery they have gone through. But I think yes, G was a classical icon of the corporate world, but now we know where they are. So they have fallen from a 600 billion capitalization to hardly 60 billion capitalization last year. But at the same time, we are seeing, as you rightly said, elephants can learn to dance. So that's the key highlight I'm having, that yes, it's never too late. Let's start the exponential journey. Plus, also, I think worthwhile highlighting, given that we have recently launched formally the EXO Builder, and I think that's a wonderful thing to happen for us. I think EXO as a framework is not just for the large and mid-sized organization; it's also for the startups and scale-ups as well. So I think what we are
Yes.
saying is, yes, if you kind of adopt and embrace those exponential attributes, whether you are small or large, it makes a lot of a difference. It accelerates your execution, and you have a strong strategy and a business model which enables you to be successful, obviously.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so Chanda, as we come to the close of the call today, as I said before, the time will disappear, very quickly. What is it that you'd like to leave folks with, or share as we close out the call, today, for those that are watching, and those that watch the
Recording,
recording as
perhaps.
well.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. So perhaps Couple of things, if I may, Kevin. So first of all, if you're listening in and to recording or live event, if you're not already part of the OpenExO community, I would say first of all, please come forward and join. There's nothing better than to become part of this vibrant and thriving community, which is wanting to make a difference and actually making a difference. Because I think there are a lot of other communities I'm aware of and some part of as well, which are saying I want to do a lot of things, but actually they don't do it for good or bad reasons. So I think this one is a unique community which is truly making a difference in shape and form. Second, I would say for those who are already there in the community and or not there as well, I think my learning, not just in the last 3 years, but for the last 25 years of working in the what I say intersection of people, process, and technology transformation is all about the people. It's all about the mindset, and therefore, I think for us as well, community members and people like me who are wanting to enable business leaders to become exponential, I think what we should be focusing upon is not doing innovation, but versus becoming innovative and being innovative. So it's all here probably in the minds, not the tool set and the skill set, so called. But yes, they are also important, but more critically is the mindset. And I would say more so perhaps a request and an invitation for the existing community members, because I think in the last 3 years, being active and inactive myself have seen that some of us are quite passionate and contributing, some of us are not. So I would say probably I would leverage a quote from Henry Ford, which he said long time back, and I think he is quoted for him, is coming together is a beginning, being together is progress, but working together is a success. So I would invite and request everyone that yes, let's stay together and work together to make our purpose truly become vibrant and successful. So it's been a fun journey and an enjoyable journey for me, and I wish the very best for everybody else as well.
Awesome, Chander. Couldn't say it better. Ultimately, by being active and taking part is where you actually get the most out of most communities, right? And that's where we can make a massive difference, but also uh, you know get paid at the same time, right? Do this as a business that provides impact, but you do well at the same time. So
Yeah,
it's
true. It's
always
ikigai.
wonderful.
It's ikigai, as I would say. Yes.
Exactly. Always wonderful to chat to you, and I'm very sure I'll be chatting to you pretty soon as well. Uh, as I did say, be on the lookout in the coming days for the launch of the Fortune 100 results. And Chander has done a lot of work there and was interviewed as part of that. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks, Chander, so much, and we'll catch you again soon.
Thanks a lot once again, Kevin, for having me with you. Pleasure.
Cool. Bye bye. So that was Chander Nagpal in Switzerland. Always great to chat to Chander. Please do join us again next week and have a great rest of your week.